Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video, I'll be showing you how to integrate Convex with any of your projects and how to get started with it in specifically Next.js. Uh, so to follow along with this tutorial, you can open up a default Next.js application, or you can use any of your projects because it doesn't really matter. And you can also, if you want to follow along with this tutorial, clone this repository which is called OpenBrain on my GitHub, and I'll put the link in the description. This is the project that I'll be using in today's tutorial. So Convex is a backend platform similar to Supabase or Firebase, where everything is TypeScript code, and so you access the database through server functions, and it's all real time, and it works well with LLMs as well. So we'll be starting the setup in our project in the IDE. So I've opened up the project in Cursor, and to set this project up, you can just install all the dependencies and go to the env example, rename it to .env and fill these in. You can follow the steps in the README. So if you follow these steps, you should be able to fill in your .env. You can ignore the convex for now, which we'll be setting up in this video. So to first set up Convex, open up the terminal and run bun. So I'm using bun as my package manager. You can use npm, pnpm, yarn, whatever you're using. Just install the Convex dependency. So it installed, and then I'll just type in bun convex dev. So what this will do is it will ask me if I want to create create a Convex project or not. It might ask you to authenticate if you haven't already. So you should do that. It will open up the browser, just authenticate on the Convex dashboard. That is if you're using the hosted version of Convex. If you're self-hosting it, the procedure is different. In this tutorial, we'll be using the hosted version of Convex, which is on their cloud. So I'll create a new project and I'll call this OpenBrain. And so I want a cloud deployment. So as I was saying, you can either choose a local deployment or a cloud deployment. So I will choose cloud deployment. If you want, you can choose a local deployment. I'll do the cloud deployment, and it should create a Convex folder over here, and it will add variables to your .env.local. So I have two .envs, so this might cause issues. So I'll move the stuff from .env.local into .env. Okay, so I've moved everything to .env, and I've deleted the .env.local file, and my .env looks something like this, where uh, this variable is filled by using through this command. So I'm going to continue by creating some data and uploading it to Convex. So I'll create a new file. I'll call this sample data.jsonl, and I'll get some data from their documentation. So I got some data from their documentation. Their documentation for Next.js, I'll put the link to that in the description. But it's just a few tasks and whether they are completed. So the description of the task is in text, and is completed is a boolean. Next, I'm going to create the server function. So as I said before, everything in Convex is code. So to query the database, you're going to need code to do that. So I will create into Convex, I'll create it. So outside the generated, I will create a tasks.ts file. Inside that, what I'll do is I'll import query. Okay, from from /generated server, And so I'm going to import query from this, and then I'll create a function. So I'm going to call this function get, and again this will be a query, and all of this code is available on their in their documentation, which is in the description. But query will take some arguments. So these arguments are things that you can pass. For example, if you wanted to sort by, or you wanted to filter out certain emails, you could do that. Then you're going to need a handler. This will be an async function, and then you can, yeah, so this is basically correct. Since our database, we haven't uploaded it yet, but the table is called tasks, and we're just getting all the rows from it. You can do other things on this table like filter, order, etc. So I'll just collect them all, and that's the whole code to get something from the database. So again, everything is a server function in TypeScript. So let's actually upload this data to Convex. So I'll open up a new terminal, and I'll do write bun convex import. Again, if you're using npm or something similar, this will just be replaced by npx or pnpx. So I'll just do bun because I'm using bun, and I'm going to import the table, and the table is called tasks, and it's from sample data.json l, so JSON lines, and I'll run that. This should upload it to Convex, and it's uploaded it. So I'm back on Convex's homepage, and I'm going to log in and check if the data was successfully uploaded. So I'm going to log in, and it should ask me if I want to authorize via GitHub. So it just directly logged me in, but it might ask you to log in via GitHub or Google. So it's created this project 7 minutes ago called OpenBrain. So I'll open that, and so as you can see, it's created this table called tasks, and it has this data available over here. Display the data on the front end, I'll need to create a provider. So this provider is basically like a React component that provides some state, so some state in the sense information to all the components under it. So I have a folder called providers, and I'll call this Convex client provider. It's going to be a client component. Then it's just going to have like a convex variable, so convex, and it's just a React client which we have to import. So just import that from convex React, and then you can export function convex client provider and import this. So that is all fine, and we can just remove React from here and import this from React. Okay, so that's the Convex client provider. Now we need to wrap it in the layout tsx. So basically what this file does is it takes your Convex instance from your Convex URL that you're providing in your .env, and then it provides state from that Convex instance through your provider, which comes from the library directly, to all its children. The children is going to be basically the whole app in our case. So if we go to layout.tsx, we can wrap the whole body around the Convex client provider. So we can wrap this and do that. So I'll move this to the top. And so all the state from this should go to the body. The body has its own children. These children are the pages. So for example, in our case, the default index page, and the page inside the chat folder. Now I can just create a new file, or like I'm going to create a new route. So I'll call this db test, and I'll create a file called page.tsx, and over here it's again going to be a client component, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is just import use query from Convex React and import API from at Convex generated API. So it's actually not going to be at, because in this project at goes to source, so it's going to be dot dot slash and dot dot slash. So that will take us to source app and then source and then another dot dot slash convex generated API, and then it's just going to export a default function called db test. It's going to get all the tasks. So if we see the API, right, and if we actually go to this tasks file, we can see that the function is called get. So we are just going API tasks get, and it's going to return a JSON response which we want to display in the UI. So we'll have to stringify it so that it becomes a string, and we just display it in a div. So if we run bun dev, we'll see that if we go to localhost 3000 slash db underscore test, we should see the tasks. So I have loaded localhost 3000 and it's opened the home page. I'm going to go to slash underscore db test, and it's loaded this. So as you can see, we have an is completed and some text. So yeah, that's it. We've gotten the data from the database and everything's working. So our Convex setup is basically done. I'd like to show you one more thing, which is why Convex is so beneficial. So as you can see, it says buy groceries, go for a swim now, and integrate Convex. What I do is I'll go to the dashboard and replace integrate Convex with integrated Convex already. And as soon as I update it and go to the UI, it's changed itself. So it's real time. It's one of the benefits of Convex. So that's it for this video. In the next video, I'll be showing you how to integrate Convex with Clerk and do authentication in your applications.